Hey everybody, Who's Your Jedi here with another review for you. This time I'm talking about episode 6 of season 7 of Dexter called Do the Wrong Thing. And boy oh boy is that an apt description of what a lot of our characters are doing right about now. Um since I've been harping on him constantly this episode over this season, let's talk about Quinn. Quinn does to some degree try and do the right thing here when he returns the money. I mean, Nadia points out quite clearly to him that money is no good to you if you're dead. And Quinn's feelings for her do seem to be genuine, so I can understand him doing that, to help keep him and her safe, because Quinn knows that has to know just how dangerous screwing with these mobsters has to be. I mean, for all his flaws, Quinn is he does have a history with these guys. It's established that the club owner guy has paid Quinn off before, and he's probably not kidding about shipping Nadia off to some horrible sex club in Dubai. I mean, that threat very much reminded me of the threat the Albanian gangster makes about to what he's going to do to Liam Neeson's daughter in Taken 2, which is actually a pretty good movie. But this just sort of does remind me, though, in that conversation that he has with Nadia. Like, well, I'm a good guy, I'm a good cop, and all this, but I also like money. Quinn, I think, in some ways, is one of the biggest hypocrites on all of Dexter, because again, we're established this season that he used to take both money and drugs from the club owner guy. Yeah, I keep wanting to call him Jason Gedrick because that's the name of the actor. Because I really can't be bothered to remember what the character's name is because it's only been mentioned once or twice. So I'm just gonna keep calling him the club owner. And of course we know there were other times when Quinn was taking bribes or stealing money from the crime scene. And yet Quinn's real berserk button is anybody calling him a dirty cop. And this would be like Dexter getting upset at people calling him a monster. Even though Dexter has repeatedly acknowledged to himself that in many ways he is a monster. Oh wait, Dexter does kind of sometimes get upset if people refer to him as a monster. Gee, I guess Dexter's also a little bit of a hypocrite, huh? But I think I've spoken in regards to that point before, so we'll put that to the side for the moment. Let's since I brought him up, let's talk about what's going on with Dexter here. The whole thing with him and Hannah. I do like that the Barrel Girl gang and Lumen are brought up here because previously in my reviews, I kind of had called Hannah basically blonde Lila. Well, as these episodes have worn on, I've kind of realized maybe that's only about half the truth. It would really be more accurate to call her a mishmash of Lumen and Lila. Lila was that very dark person, the person who really was, kind of an evil person who was hinted that she killed some people in England. She tried to murder Aster and Cody. She was responsible for Dokes dying. Lila, sexy British lady as she was, did deserve to be one of Dexter's victims. Lumen, of course, really was quite accurately described as Dexter's partner. Now, granted, it was a temporary partnership, but it did seem to be a reasonably workable relationship between those two. I mean, of course, Lumen had to kind of go off and try and rebuild her own life because, well, it just really wouldn't have worked story-wise if she'd hung around. But this does sort of bring it back to one of the theories that one thing that I burned is that I'd wondered if maybe Hannah might not take up the mantle of Dexter's partner, because against somebody like Isaac, Dexter really is up against somebody who is very, very much on his level, very much the worthy opponent. And we've seen that, even Dexter's best tricks have at best sidelined him temporarily. So I could see Dexter needing someone. Could see him needing a partner, somebody who really can compete with him on a fairly equal level on his side. And Hannah does seem to be being billed as somebody who could fit that role. Now, granted, the relationship between them is not strong enough that we could really say that she'd be willing to take on the mob just to help out Dexter, but still, do see that their relationship between them is very much growing and intensifying this episode in quite a sexy way. Yeah, but the interesting thing here is that Hannah seems to be a person who might be willing to kill not just people who have harmed her, like or people that she feels are a threat to her, like the woman in the hotel room, or the counselor who abused her. But it's also might be that she could have genuinely murdered her husband and the woman that employed her simply because she cared about them legitimately. And it could be, and again, this is just a theory I'm floating here, but it's something I've seen kind of batted around by the fans, that if Hannah feels too close to someone, her instinct is to kill them to spare herself the pain of them using her or betraying her or leaving her or whatever. And of course, that does make you wonder where, if that is true, things are going to be going for her and Dexter this season. And while I don't normally throw out theories here, I still have the feeling that Hannah is probably going to be making a return trip to Dexter's table by the end of the season. And I don't think things are going to be working out for her quite as well as they did this time around. Oh yeah, I forgot to, boy, I really can't talk. Let's move on. Since since we're talking about what's going on with Dexter, we get to see that Deborah has discovered once again that Dexter has lied to her, has broken his promises to her, and it really is a real guessing game as to where their relationship is going to go. Now, granted, it's understandable that there's going to be some time working out an equilibrium of how their relationship is going to be, given the knowledge that Deb has learned this season. And I suppose you could say this is just the scales tipping in one other direction, but how much can Dexter really dick with Deb before she does something drastic, or simply decides, as much as she might love him, that she can't bear to be in his life anymore? I mean, I really could genuinely see Deb packing her bags and going to start up a new life somewhere else. So let's see here. Yes. Let's briefly move over to talk about Isaac. Now, I gotta say, this attack on him in the jail, this is really dumb. If you're gonna do something like this, especially against a guy as obviously formidable as Isaac, you don't send just like one guy over there. You bushwhack him with like about 5 or 6 guys and stab him to death in the shower or something. I mean, just going over there and literally getting in his face. I mean, really, there are just no words for how dumb that is. And you're gonna have to forgive me, guys. Basically, as I said, I was sick most of this week, so when I took my notes for this episode, it was like a week ago, almost a week ago. So I've forgotten a lot of the things that I really did want to talk about. But I guess the main thing that really I took away from this episode was Hannah and Dexter both have an emptiness inside them that they're trying to fill. Dexter, of course, tries to fill it with killing. And what Hannah tries to fill that with is a little bit of a mystery. Now, as I said, she might be killing people that she feels emotionally close to. And when we do feel an emptiness inside of us. It is just human nature to try and connect with other people, because realistically, that is one of the best ways there is to fill that void. I mean, no man is an island. None of us can really get through our lives totally alone. Humans are social creatures. And even people like Dexter and Hannah and some of the various other bad guys we've seen over the course of the series have had people that they cared about, have tried to form real relationships with people, and of course it's usually not worked out. Even Quinn, as big a jerk as he does seem to genuinely care about Nadia. Angel has tried. He's been married 2 times. He's tried to fill that void with himself, with throwing himself into his work by buying a car. Now he's thinking about buying a restaurant. I mean, Jamie's not wrong with saying that poor Batista is an impulsive guy. But it is the question: what is it that is really Hannah is trying to fill the void with? What is it that she does want out of life? What is it that Deborah wants to fill this void in her life now that she's not involved with anyone? Her relationship with her brother, which was going in a seriously screwed up direction, the floor on that has completely fallen apart. Now maybe this Sal Price character is being floated as Deb's potential romantic interest of the season. And if you haven't noticed, he's played by the fella whose name I don't recall, who was Isaac on Heroes. Given Deb's past history with romance, I don't hold great hopes that this is going to work out terribly well for her. But does offer up something potential besides, her serial killer adopted brother as a romantic interest. So I'm certainly not going to complain too awful much about having this character around. And besides, Sal Price does seem to be, at least from what we've seen this episode, seems to be a pretty smart guy. His investigation is indeed a potential threat to Dexter. So, that's another interesting angle that the show has introduced. I mean, I'm interested to see where it goes. So, again, there are really a lot of balls in the air this episode, but apart from Dexter and Hannah getting intimate, I don't really feel like things have moved forward terribly, terribly much. There's no real wham, besides what happened with Dexter and Hannah this episode, I guess I should say. Not to say that things didn't move forward a little bit, but I guess what I'm trying to say here is, in a season that's been as tightly written as it has been so far, I think this one lost some momentum, I guess is really the best way to put it. Anyway, folks, I'm going to wrap that up here. I know this may not have been the most insightful review I've ever done. Just the nature of trying to come back to something after so long, the ideas I wanted to talk about aren't as fresh in my mind. But anyway, as always, please comment, rate, and subscribe. You can, of course, follow me on Twitter at Hoosier Jedi. And until next time, take care and have a good one.